Hello, beautiful. How are you? I am just putting this little vid together just to tell you a little bit more about The Sum of All Parts. It is the final novel in the Teapot Cottage series. This is the eighth book, and it is the culmination of 8 years of the life of the primary character, Adie Raven, as she is now. For those of you who followed the series since the very beginning, the first book was called No Small Change, and she was Adie Bostock back then. And her backstory can be found in another of my books, which isn't one of the Teapot Cottage series. It's called Thicker Than Water. You'll find it on my website, but that really is a different novel written in a very different and much darker genre, written in a different style, but it puts a little bit of meat on the bones of our lovely main character, Adie Raven, as she is now in the final book of the series. So if you've been following, you'll know that Adie has had a lot of ups and downs in her life. And if you didn't know, she came to Teapot Cottage originally as a house sitter after her marriage broke up. She was hit quite suddenly and brutally by the menopause without much lead in, and her kids weren't talking to her. Her life was in ruins, and she needed a bolt hole, just wanted to go somewhere away from everything and everyone and just house sit for a little while in a gorgeous little cottage in the Lake District and just breathe and lick her wounds and try and figure out what was next in her life. Now, some of you who have read No Small Change will know that her life looked very, very different at the end of her stay at Teapot Cottage. And part of the reason for that was the healing energy, the vibrational energy that exists within the walls of Teapot Cottage, which does help people to heal from various trauma and find new ways forward, often unexpected ways. Usually they end up in a better place, even though it's not necessarily anything that they once ever envisaged for themselves in their wildest dreams. But this book, this is the sum of all parts. And the annual Christmas party at Ravensdown House happens this year, and a lot of the characters in the previous novels that we've come to know and love show up at this party, and we get to find out where they are, from the very beginning, from when we first met them with their own Teapot Cottage story to later, now that they've become friends and closer people in the orbit of Adie and her new family. So we get to see where everybody's at, what they've been up to, what their plans are for the future, and it's just a nice way of rounding all of that together. And I had a lot of fun writing it as a Christmas party where we could wrap that series up in that way. But the book is, as it says, the sum of all parts. There are actually three parts to this novel, and the first part is the Christmas party. It's the wrapping up of everything that's gone before. The second part is a family catastrophe that happens for Adie and forces her to reevaluate everything she's come to know and love. Her life changes completely, and she's got to try and figure out how to adjust her sails and survive this and find a way to thrive in spite of it. And the third part is her finding a part of herself that she thought she'd lost many years ago. The new dream has come back to life from way, way, way back in her past, and she realizes that now she can actually make that happen. 40 years late, but she's going to make it happen. And so she has been the most inspiring character for me to write about, because she started off as a menopausal basket case with her life in ruins, and throughout the series, as people have come and gone from Teapot Cottage, she's been involved in helping them shape their futures, and she's learned a lot herself. She has settled into a wonderful new life that she once never imagined for herself, but she pays her wisdom forward and offers it to people in need. And she's made good friends in Torley, this fictitious town in the Lake District where she lives on a farm on the edge of the town. And they're all matriarchs. They're all kind of older women with lots of wisdom, and they get together for coffee mornings and so on. And Adie hosts the coffee morning at Ravensdown House once a month. And she's the kind of person who is just the gentlest, kindest, loveliest, wisest woman with a big thread of steel running through her because she's had to survive a lot. The first time when we first meet her, she's working out how to survive a marriage breakup and, her fragmented family that's all over the place. Certain of her own secrets have come out, but then it transpires that her husband had secrets too. Marriage couldn't survive. Off she went. But then in this latest book, The Sum of All Parts, she actually finds herself having to rebuild her life again 8 years on. And it's her 60th birthday that's being celebrated at the same time as the Christmas party. So it's quite a bittersweet time for her. She realizes she's getting older and certain elements of her life have changed beyond recognition, and she has to deal with a big family disaster, and it changes the landscape of everything. So once she taps into that little core of steel and comes to realize that, yes, life does go on, we can rebuild. She's done it once before, can do it again. Just picks herself up, dusts herself off, and off she goes. And she is such a great role model, and she has inspired me so much. Because when I first wrote the first book in the Teapot Cottage series, it was called No Small Change. And really, I never imagined, when I started that book, I never imagined that she would grab hold of me, Adie Bostock, as she was back then. She grabbed hold of me and pulled me along. And there were times throughout the book as it was unfolding where I kind of felt like I was running along behind this character trying to catch her up. She seemed to have like a mind of her own. I had an idea of where I wanted to take her in that book. She had other plans for me and said, no, actually, I want to go over here instead. I want to do that. So I thought, well, okay, I'll run with you. I'll let you do whatever you want. Let's just see where this goes. And I have to say that the book was better for it in the end. So that was pretty cool, actually. But what I realised as I was getting to the end was that she had a lot to say. She had a lot more to do and a lot more wisdom to offer and a lot more things to learn. And I just didn't really see how I could have let go of her at that point. So one book became two. And ultimately, we arrived at number 8, and The Sum of All Parts is now out. It starts off as a Christmas story. Adie is a character worth celebrating. She's funny, she's wise, she's charming, she's a little old-fashioned in some ways, but surprisingly pragmatic in others. And just a delightful character, really. And I love the way she's unfolded. And I love how she draws people in with her openness, because she decided a long time ago, no more secrets, let's just have everything out in the open, let's call a spade, and everybody she comes in contact with is better for that. So I hope you would like to read The Sum of All Parts. If you do want to, please go on to any of the online literary platforms. You can get it on Kobo, Barnes & Noble, Amazon, and you can even go in and order it from bookshops like Waterstones and Barnes & Noble, etc. if you want the paperback to just buy over the counter. They don't stock it because I'm an indie publisher, but they will get it in if you order it in. So, I hope you enjoy this beautiful Christmas tale. And for me, it's not goodbye. It's not goodbye to Adie, because she's going to go off and be the primary protagonist in another series of novels which start next year, and I'm quite excited about those. The framework has already been put together for the first one, and so she's going to hang around a while. So if you want to keep coming along for the ride, please do feel free. I'd love to have you along and see where this amazing character goes and how much more she develops as an older woman, finding her voice, remembering that she has a valid place in the world, and celebrating all of that, bringing these dreams to life, and starting again. Okay, so that's it. The Sum of All Parts. Book 8 in the Teapot Cottage series is the final one. And it is a standalone novel, so you don't have to have read the previous ones in order to enjoy this one. But it is useful if you have. then these characters will mean a little bit more to you if you go through the series. But the sum of all parts is, I don't know, I'm sort of in two minds really. It's a bittersweet moment for me to have finished the series with this lovely character. But as I say, I haven't seen the end of it. She's a part of me now. I've been writing her life for the last 2.5 years, and we've managed to gallop through 8 years of it in that time. And she's still a long way from being done. So we're just going to take her in a slightly different direction now, because I think life does push us forward whether we want it to or not, and we have to go with the flow. And we are all evolving continuously, so it's time for Adie to evolve into a different phase of her life now, and I'm really excited about that, so I hope you are too. Okay, the sum of all parts, it's available now, just in time for Christmas. Treat yourself to it for a Christmas prezi, or just buy it, tuck it into the Christmas stocking of someone you think might like the genre. All right, I will talk to you soon.